Hello, everyone, and welcome to a bumper Irish Abroad show this week. Double game week in most divisions and abroad as well. Also in America, too, which I was lucky to find today because that league still confuses me as we get through every week. Joined by regular co host Jer Browne. Jer, how are we? Another late win well, not another one, a late win for Liverpool last night.
Yeah, left it very, very late. It was kind of consigned that the game was probably going to end in a draw, probably consigned to on the last day of August that we're definitely out of the title race the way City are just scoring goals for fun and that you probably have to be 4-0 up against it before you could even contemplate relaxing. But yeah, look, some people say it's, typical like Liverpool scoring in the 7 or 8 minutes, only 5 minutes add on. But Newcastle did waste quite a lot of time with injury. So look,
Agreed.
I'm obviously going to play that card. Overall, in general, you'd probably have to say though, it was very, very harsh in Newcastle. Another day that goal Isaac is probably given. The margin was so tight in it. Offside to go 2-0 up. Probably not throwing away the game from there. Liverpool, I wouldn't even say did just enough to win. You kind of worry and wonder kind of to yourself that, where does the Bournemouth performance kind of come from? Does it maybe just give more of an indication of how poor they are and how much out of their depth that they're able to spank them 9-0, but every game on the side that they look so flat, so poor, lacking kind of real creativity. But look, got over the line. Big game now on Saturday. Not going to be easy. After playing so late on Wednesday to go again early on 12:30 on Saturday is going to be tough. But look, so Liverpool used that schedule down to the year's midweek games. But yeah, obviously Liverpool win last night. Another big night, of course, ahead for Irish football. The women's team game tonight against Finland and Tala. A win guarantees a playoff, which would be massive. Probably be the biggest result then really in the history of Ireland's women's football. I think even a draw, realistically speaking, I think you'd be pretty confident of going to nail second place. We have to go away to Slovakia, who, okay, albeit they're at home, but not much to play for. And then you got Finland up against, home to Sweden, albeit against Sweden with nothing to play for, you top the group. So hopefully Vera Power side can get the job done tonight, and there'll be celebratory scenes in Tala around 9 o'clock. And hopefully the 1st of September 2022 will be nicer than the 1st of September 2021, because it's 12 months ago today since Cristiano Ronaldo broke our hearts with those two late goals when Portugal bet us 2-1. And we dared to dream for so long that John Egan's header was going to be the winner that night.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking about it last week. Didn't realize it was today, but yeah,
It's
my
mad how
God,
quickly it's come around, yeah.
crazy, crazy, devastating stuff that night. But hopefully the ladies can get the job done tonight, and I'm very, very confident that they will. Yes, and get through to that playoff, give themselves a massive chance of make. It's the World Cup, isn't it? Yeah, the World Cup. Sorry,
World
sorry.
Cup, yeah, and
Yeah,
be a great destination for World Cup. Australia and New Zealand as well, kind of,
Pro-
you imagine
probably
it's
where the men's World Cup should be this
so
year and should have already been on.
I was only having this discussion with someone last night in the pub, obviously because of the ridiculous schedule that we have this season. Like, as we're going to see the Champions League just week after week, as opposed to the usual 2 week gap over the next kind of couple of weeks. Yeah, it really should have went to either, I think, USA or Australia. But you look, that's a discussion for another day. As you said, we've a lot to kind of get through. So I suppose you might as well start by bringing us through the Premier League.
Yeah, of course. So start off with the weekend and we'll do the midweek then after we discuss that. So we'll start Saturday morning, Southampton Man United. What a game. BT have once again to kick us off. Gavin Bazunu in goal, 90 minutes played again. Done very well, but he couldn't keep out Bruno Fernandes. United won 1-0 there. Another decent performance from Jer, made one great save in the first half after a succession of blocks and a couple of chances United should have put away anyway. But he's still playing. They still have a lot of faith in him, and it went well again during the week too.
Yeah, which we'll touch on in a bit. I've seen the last half an hour of that game against Chelsea and Southampton in particular, very impressive. Pretty encouraging start to the season, considering there were a lot of people's tips to be in a relegation battle, possibly go down. Then they get spanked 4-1 by Spurs, and you can kind of see why everyone was thinking that. But they've responded with 7 points from the last 4 games. That's a pretty good return. Big statement win against Chelsea. Watched this game as well on Saturday. As you mentioned, a couple of good saves from Gavin in the first half. Couldn't really do anything about Bruno Fernandes' goal. It was well hit right into the corner. Very, very difficult for goalkeepers. And other than that, I don't think Man United really had a shot on target in the second half. Southampton kind of towards the end arguably could have maybe done enough to get a draw. Maybe the balance of play certainly did. So it was kind of a quiet enough kind of game from that sense. But in general, as touched on last week, it might take him a little bit of a while to adapt to Premier League because the consistent pace of the way things are going to be coming at him, the play is going to be a lot quicker than League One, where his only examples, glimpses here and there in international football. But like I said, things are moving along pretty well from so far, and the fact as well that Southampton are getting results will only help his case too.
Yeah, 100%. Wolves up next for them, a team who are struggling to score. So maybe his first clean sheet of the
Yeah.
season coming up this Saturday. We go from a goalkeeper who has had a good couple of games to a goalkeeper who had a horrendous one on Saturday afternoon against your crowd. Not all his fault, but Liverpool 9, Bournemouth 0. Never good for a goalkeeper, regardless of how well you do.
But I think apart from Firmino's second goal, which I think he could have done better with the initial parry and then the rebound.
Yeah,
Do you
sorry,
honestly think he could?
Mark Travers we're talking about. I
Yeah.
didn't even say his name, sorry.
But do you honestly think he could have done anything else but the other 8 goals? Like Diaz's
No,
header was very, very, very good. Elliott's goal is right in the corner. Trent's goal is a bullet. Carvalho goal is a bullet. Maybe might do better with Tsimikas as well because it was kind of on his near side as well. Firmino's first goal, like it's so close. Like if he doesn't be scoring from there, you'd be fuming. And like if it wasn't for Salah missed a sitter, he would have conceded double digits. Like we'll get onto it in a bit, like, but I think that was a pure cop out that he got dropped last night.
Yeah, we'll get on to that. I was actually shocked that he got dropped.
I wasn't, but anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just what's going on in Bournemouth the last couple of days. Anyway, they don't have much identity, really, in my opinion. Anyway, look, disappointed for him. I wasn't criticizing him, and I wasn't saying any of the goals are his fault at all. Not at all. I just think like it's a hard day for a goalkeeper when you have to pick the ball out of the net 9 times. That's all I'm saying, and I'm sure he hope at least he got. Well, no, he wasn't playing last night. Anyway, we'll move on. Unfortunate for Mark there. Nathan Collins played in Wolves 1-1 draw with Newcastle. Another disappointing result for Wolves, who probably should have won it in the end. Look, a great goal from Saint-Maximin, a great goal from Ruben Neves. But look, Wolves will be disappointed. I watched it myself, and they will be disappointed.
Yeah, they had kind of chances right towards the end, and they would have targeted that game at home. And considering they're coming off the back of a pretty strong season last year, where they weren't a million miles away from being in Europe up there all season, they've had a very, very slow, fat start to the season. Like, they're in the bottom 3 at this early stage of the season. No wins. It's been disappointing for them. There's no question about it. Like last night, they couldn't have got a better chance to get 3 points and against a team whose confidence is actually even below the floor. It's in the soil. It's that far down, and they still couldn't do it. Like, so it's been a really, really disappointing start. Their biggest criticism from last season was they didn't score enough goals. I think they were one of the lowest scorers in the league, and that's kind of coming back to haunt them as well. But as we're going to touch on maybe later in the championship, some teams, particularly like Preston, can still find a way around and not score much goals. But it's definitely a problem for Wolves again this season.
Definitely, yeah. That's it from the weekend. Then we can go straight into it. Talk about Wolves and Bournemouth on last night. Actually, Nathan Collins played the full 90 minutes again as they drew 0-0. A clean sheet for him. He'd be happy with that. Unfortunate they didn't get the result. And Mark Travers dropped as well. We mentioned it already. Bit of a cop-out, bit disappointing.
Yeah, I think there's 100%. I think the main reason he was actually dropped, and this might sound controversial and anything else like that, but because he's Irish as well, I think that was a major contribution. I think if he was an English goalkeeper or from a nation that is well established, I think the manager just looked to whoever was in charge of them last night, looked, replacing, this guy is Brazilian international. I think it's a cop-out. I think you also look as well, I do think going forward, the departure of Scott Parker as Bournemouth manager is going to be a massive hindrance to Mark Travers, because he's the only manager ever re-backed him. Eddie Howe, I know he gave him game time here or there, and I know one particular game not long before lockdown he had a bit of a stinker against Watford, but he was taken straight out of the team. I can't remember who replaced Bournemouth
I
manager.
think Bournemouth manager, Jonathan Woodgate, wasn't it? No, it was Jason Tyndall, and then Woodgate came after Tyndall, yeah.
Yeah, and they loaned him out to League One. So Parker was the only manager that stood by him last season, finally gave him a chance, and was stand by him this season. There's no question if Parker was in charge of that game last night, which he should have been, but that's again a discussion for another day. He would have started goals, and yeah, unfortunately, the fact that they keep a clean sheet last night, you're inclined to think the manager is probably just going to keep going with that. But hopefully, opportunities will pop up for Mark. But yeah, I'm going to be probably sound biased, but I don't care. I think he was very, very harshly treated. At the end of the day, I know 16 goals, you say it's not a nice thing for a goalkeeper, but you kind of have to look what's in front of you too, and they have to. It's a collective unit, and they also have to think, I think, equally much criticism that Mark might be facing his way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've played. Okay, Arsenal are in great form so far this season. Probably not the toughest start to the season, but look, they were in great form on the day, and 3-0. Could have been more if they wanted it, really. Liverpool just kept scoring, that's it. And City even took their foot off the gas in the first game as well. They beat Villa in the opening game. A lot of expectation on Villa this year, and well beat them. Now Villa, okay, they done all right last night, but they're a poor side, and Gerrard is Gerrard's under a lot of pressure now. And City up next to them. I mean, listen, it's still a good win for Bournemouth. They've got 3 points. I mean, they can build on that. They've got another point they got 4 points. They got another point last night. They've got Nottingham Forest away on Saturday. I mean, that's a chance to get points there. These are the real games that matter to them. Don't mind going to Anfield and the Etihad. I completely agree with you anyway. We can move on anyway. That's it from the Premier League during Actually, no, Gavin Bazunu. Sorry, I forgot to go back to Gavin Bazunu. He played the full 90 minutes as Southampton beat Chelsea 2-1. Another great win for Southampton, who were being tipped for relegation, but they've got 2 wins now in their last couple of games, onto 8 points.
Yeah, they've got tremendous kind of fighting spirit about them. Even the other game that they drew against Leeds, that would have felt like a win because they came from 2-0 down and they looked kind of doomed. Yeah, Ralph Hasenhüttl is a manager that kind of, I think, maybe goes under the radar a little bit. Every time you kind of think, I think he's brought Southampton as far as he can go. He's done as much as he can do there. Time for him to move on. He keeps sticking out these kind of string of impressive results and kind of keeps them kind of floating. I've no doubt they were struggling when he was appointed to the job. They looked like they were heading down to the Championship, and I've no doubt only for him they will be a Championship team now. And if they do go on to stay up this season, or go on to have another good solid season, I think that would be a large proportion down to it. And I wouldn't be surprised if a good kick comes his way. Like you said, you're looking at the likes of Aston Villa, Everton, Leicester. Without predicting the future, we all wouldn't be surprised if there's vacant managerial positions there coming up in the next kind of couple of weeks. There could be a good one there for him. Just one last thing as well on the Premier League to touch on. Good to see Conor Owen on the bench as well for Wolves last night. Didn't come on, but obviously he's featuring a little bit in the radar that he got at least mentioned on the bench last night for the first time this season. So hopefully that's a sign of more things to come.
Yeah, definitely for Wolves anyway. It seemed like a team in a bit of transition. A couple of players went out, a couple of new players in as well. Hopefully he get an opportunity soon. That's it from the Premier League. Anyway, we can crack on into the Championship, a double game week there as well. We'll start off with the weekend. I'm just going to go in order. So Friday night down. So John Egan grabbed an assist. Centre half getting an assist. Unbelievable. Fair play to him though. He's had a cracking start to the season. As Luton drew 1-1 with Sheffield United. Andrew Omobamidele, another clean sheet for him as Norwich beat Sunderland in the early game on Saturday afternoon. Sammy Szmodics went off after 21 minutes and Blackburn's 1-0 home defeat to Stoke. Disappointing for him. That could be an injury. I'm not 100% sure. CJ Hamilton got 3 minutes as Blackpool drew 3-3 at Bristol City. Cracker there at Bloomfield Road. Callum O'Dowda, Robbie Brady, Troy Park, Greg Cunningham and Alan Browne all played in Cardiff and Preston's 0-0 draw. Pretty sure that's Preston's 5th or 6th 0-0 draw out of 6 or 7 games. But that changed during the week. We'll get on to that. Jason Malumbi, Darrow O'Shea and Cardiff-linked Callum Robinson all played in Huddersfield and West Brom's 2-2 draw, all playing for West Brom. Cyrus Christie was a late sub as Hull beat Coventry City 3-2. Hull have had a decent enough start to the season. They could be coming back up again this year in the hunt for the playoffs. Darragh Lenihan grabbed a yellow card. Michael Obafemi and Ryan Manning both played in Middlesbrough's 2-1 win over Swansea. And I've heard rumours Obafemi was being linked with a move. I can't remember who it was to. I saw it today. You might remember. Birmingham City, was it Obafemi, really?
I think that's what I was told. I could be wrong. I know Birmingham have a bit of cash to spend as well, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, listen, I think Swansea haven't really got going. Might be an option for them, but look, I mean, they might get going in future. They did get a positive result last night. Anyway, Dan McNamara, Jeff Hendrick and Shane Long all played in Reading's 1-0 win away at Millwall. Chiedozie Ogbeni surprisingly didn't score this week, and Scott Hogan both played in Rotherham's 2-0 win over Birmingham City. Rotherham, another win for them. Been a fantastic start. Halted during the week, though. And Jimmy Dunn, Sinclair Armstrong, Connor Masterson all played in QPR's fantastic coupon buster win away at Watford on Saturday afternoon. Not much of a hint there, but fair play to them. Great win for QPR there. And Will Keane grabbed the only goal for an Irish player in the Championship on the weekend. As Wigan were beaten 5-1 at home by Burnley. Josh Cullen and James McLean all played in that one as well. A busy weekend, only one goal, but look, we have Omobamidele in the thumbnail. It's been a fantastic start for him, and it only got better during the week.
Yeah, there was plenty of actually Irish involvement in that game, as I'm sure you're going to tell us in a few minutes. It was Scott Hopeman getting the opener for Birmingham. He's had a pretty encouraging start to the season, so never really fully convinced me in an Ireland trip. But then again, when he's scoring goals in the championship, it'd be hard for Stephen Kenny to totally ignore him. Omobamidele's big come from Burnley. Yeah, that would sound more encouraging, I think, than Birmingham City. I think, in the sense that Burnley, I think, are more likely to feature in the promotion shake-up than Birmingham City. But yeah, he started really back in as well, Andrew Omobamidele, after a long layoff. Didn't play an awful lot of football last season either. Good to see Norwich had a slow start to the season. They've really picked up the last kind of couple of weeks. They're not far off the automatic promotion spots. Look, very early days after 7 points. You were saying Swansea have had slow start season, and they're not far off the relegation zone, but they're still only 6 points off the playoffs. The championship's always mad like that. Doesn't really kind of settle and get going until the second half of the season there. And yeah, and QPR even as well, they had a really flying start to last season, a bit like Blackburn flopped, but a couple of good wins from them that had seen them flying off the last kind of couple of weeks. And great to see a lot of Irish involvement there as well. It's mainly been the likes of Jimmy Dunn, Sinclair Armstrong, and Shadipo over the last kind of couple of weeks. So good to finally see Conor Masson, who's been on the bench pretty much for every game, finally see some action over the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. Another one to mention is, I had it in my head there. Josh Cullen just settling in like he did at Anderlecht, Vincent Kompany's main man again, and Burnley hitting 5. I mean, I can't remember the last time. I don't even think I've ever seen that before. I know it's a lower level, but good for Josh anyway, and they seem to be getting going as well themselves, Burnley.
Yeah, they've scored a lot of goals so far this season. I know obviously it's a drop down in standards and levels, but even I think with the times when the championship with Sean Dyche, I wouldn't say they spanked many teams. I think they probably did enough just to get over the line. Like they won, not one, but they scored 3 goals as well not that long ago against Blackpool. Started really well. Again, I think a lot of people felt like, albeit they dropped down from Premier League, lost a lot of players, change over a manager, off the field uncertainties as well. A lot of people thought they might kind of struggle and rot away, but they seem to have actually turned around and done some pretty good business. To the best of my knowledge, Ashley Barnes is still there as well, so he's going to be a massive player for them. You think he'd bang in goals, no problem in the championship this season. And like Josh doing very well. And Burnley, yeah, like I'd be shocked if they're not in the top 6 come the end of the season. It's very hard to say whether they'll go up, but I certainly think they'll be in the top 6 come May anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I tend to agree with you. We'll move on to the midweek action. We mentioned Andrew Omobamidele. He grabbed a goal and played full 90 minutes as Norwich came from behind to beat Birmingham 2-1. Scott Hogan grabbed the goal for Birmingham there, and Adamida did come on as a sub for 6 minutes at the end. Josh Cullen, who we just spoke about, he played the full 90 minutes. Derek Costello came on as a sub, and Dan McNamara full 90 minutes as Burnley won again at Turf Moor, 2-0 winners over Millwall. Jimmy Dunn and Sinclair Armstrong both played in QPR's 3-1 win over Hull City on Tuesday evening, I think that was. John Egan, Jeff Hendrick and Shane Long all played in Sheffield United's 4-0 win over Reading at Bramall Lane on Tuesday evening. Sheffield United are hitting a load of goals as well, which is like they really are. And I mean, John has now attracted interest from Leeds United from what I've seen as well.
Yeah, they've kind of continued from where they left off the end of last season. There doesn't seem to be any major kind of playoff hangover from losing on the penalty shootout to Nottingham Forest, and Forest then going on to win, so they kind of would have definitely be left thinking what could have been. I know they had a little bit of a slow start to the season, but they've really turned around the last kind of couple of weeks, as you say, scoring goals, keeping clean sheets, doing all the right things, and top of the league, and they still retain a lot of that squad that was in the Premier League a couple of years ago. So you'd be getting there another side you're going to be fancying. They're very much going to shake up come the business end of the season. Again, big question though, was that John Egan's last game for Sheffield United? From our own selfish kind of point of views, we probably kind of hope it is, because it'd be great to have him back in the Premier League. I still think he has something to offer at that level. Again, raise the profile by having another Irish player in the league. Okay, there's a possibility he might be there again next season, but 12 months is a long time. John is going to be, if he's not already, he's going to turn 30 this season. So I suppose you have to take these opportunities when they come, and if he does move on, even though it might be a hard one for Sheffield United fans to take, if it does be Leeds, fellow Yorkshire rivals, I don't think he owes that club anything. He's been a tremendous servant to them over a couple of years since he joined back in the summer of 2018, I think it was.
Yeah, definitely. I tend to agree. And going to a club, Leeds, okay, they've started quite okay, haven't conceded that many goals, but team who are generally weak defensively, so would really, really merit if he did join up with them. But as we say, we shall see. We continue on anyway. Will Keane, James McLean, Jason Malumbi, and Darrow O'Shea all played in Wigan and West Brom's 1-1 draw. Darragh Lenihan played the full 90 minutes as Middlesbrough were beaten by Watford at Vicarage Road. Preston scored a goal on I think it was last night.
Last night, yeah.
Yeah, I have 1-1. I'm pretty sure they won 1-0, didn't they?
Because they haven't conceded a goal yet this season. They have a remarkable statistic. I couldn't believe it. I was looking at the table last night. 5 games played this season, 2 goals scored, none conceded, still unbeaten, 5 0-0 draws. But like I said, the fact they're still unbeaten and then a couple of wins, they're only just outside the playoffs, if not even in the playoffs. It's mad to think the fact they've only kind of scored 2 goals. Because I was looking at it and thinking to myself, God, it's a little bit worrying, even though it's early days that Troy hasn't really kind of got going. But I'm kind of like, they don't really seem to do much attacking wise going forward. But they're doing enough somehow to kind of get wins and get over the line. You're kind of hoping at some stage, a bit like Liverpool the weekend, that waterfall is going to finally come for Preston and the opportunities are more for Troy. I remember Gary Spain was saying in his few cameo appearances in the show last year, every time MK Dongs he's seen it score, just desperate checks to see was it Troy. That was me last night. So you really are hoping it will happen. Still very early days in the season. It's just turned September, but it would be great. I know he scored in the League Cup. It would be great if he kind of break his duck in the league.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he played in that as well, along with, sorry, I'm after losing it there for a second. Greg Cunningham played again. He's been back in the side the last couple of games as well. Robbie Brady and Alan Browne came on as a sub there. So again, Preston not doing too badly, flying under the radar so far. Ryan Manning, Michael Obafemi, and Gavin Kilkenny all played in Stoke and Swansea's 1-1 draw. A bit of a better result for Swansea there. Late equaliser from Stoke though, so they won't be happy with that. And then finally, Chiedozie Ogbene and Georgie Kelly all played in Rotherham's 3-0 hammering by Sunderland. Tony Mowbray Sunderland now after Alex Neil's departure to Stoke. Disappointing for Rotherham there. They've been going very well and look strong enough besides last night.
Yeah, I think you take away last night overall in general, they'd be pretty happy enough with their start to the season. They're sitting kind of comfortably there in mid-table. We always say for a new team come up, it's just about kind of trying to find their feet. Most important thing is like, you just have to brush that off their backs very, very quickly. And that's the nature of the championship. You can't kind of let any kind of game psychologically get you down because there's another game's not far around the corner. And that's the way that they kind of have to look at it. But again, Sunderland, same boat as them, a new team up, going a little bit kind of under the radar. Probably not as much focus and attention on this show because they don't have any Irish players anymore. But they've also made a pretty decent, encouraging start to the season. I was fighting for them to kind of get going because losing Alex Neil would have been a shock and a setback. I found that a strange move from Leeds Sunderland to go to Stoke. Stoke aren't exactly hitting the heights. I know they've been a Premier League club more recent than Sunderland, but you would still kind of think Sunderland was a more attractive appeal. Bit surprised with Tony Mowbray. I suppose, look, he knows that division kind of inside out. I thought maybe that might be a perfect one for Scott Parker to jump straight back in because of his fantastic record in the Championship. But look, I think Tony Mowbray is going into a solid foundation at Sunderland. That's the first time for a new manager. You can say that for a new manager who's taken over Sunderland in a long, long time. Because even going back to the days in the Premier League, more often than not, a manager was taken over because someone was getting sacked because they were struggling. Probably the last manager I think who took over Sunderland with solid foundation. You're probably going back to the Steve Bruce, Martin O'Neill days. And that's well into the last decade.
Yeah, definitely. I think Scott Parker, the only thing hampering him is he's a former Newcastle man. And I think if he went up there and it didn't go too well or something like that, like it'd just be poisonous atmosphere, and like you don't need that really. That's probably why he wasn't thought about. We can move on. We have action from League One and League Two this week, and I think it's the Papa John's Trophy now. I preferred Johnston's Paint, but you can't keep sponsorship the same forever, unfortunately. League One, anyway, we start off on Saturday. Sean Rowan grabbed an assist for Lincoln City as him, Anthony Scully and Paddy O'Connor all played in their 2-2 draw. Fleetwood Keane Hayes playing for the latter there. Also, Luke O'Connell got 2 assists as Barnsley drew 2-2 with Ipswich. Marcus Harness came on as a sub in that as well. The big news from League One on Saturday, though, Jason Knight grabbed a goal, his first goal of the season, and David McGoldrick also got his first goal of the season. Conor Horan got an assist for Jason Knight. Aaron Cashin, James Collins, and Jack Taylor for Peterborough played in Derby's 2-1 win over Peterborough at Pride Park. Jason, we didn't think he'd be there going into the season, but he looks like he's hanging on. But there still might be a move from him.
Fingers crossed there is a move from him. Let's be brutally honest. He's one of the most exciting prospects in Irish football. It would be, I think, a tragedy that one of our most encouraging players is going to spend 12 months playing the third tier of English football. He's too good for that level. He needs to get a move. It should be done by now. It shouldn't have gone down this far, this late in the day. I've even heard talks that it looks like he was even going to sign and stay on and get a contract extension at Derby. It's only 18 months ago that he was being linked to a move to the Premier League in the January window of 2021. I'm not saying he's at that standard, but he's definitely good enough to operate in the championship level. Sorry to any Derby County fans out there. I'm going to be brutally honest, I always am the show. This lad should not be in League One. I think it's just very, very unfortunate and sad because, like I said, he's one of our brightest prospects. He's definitely got the talent there to hold his own with a good, solid championship club.
Completely agree. Also was linked to a Werder Bremen Bundesliga team not too long ago who did beat Dortmund not too long ago as well. So look, maybe they'll rekindle their interest there shortly. League 2 on Saturday, 2 bits of information. Paddy Madden unfortunately got a red card as Stockport drew 1-1 with Swindon Town. Their Stockport have not started well after a great season in the non-league last year, in the conference, sorry, not the non-league. They're 19th so far, have only picked up 4 points from the first few games. And Stephen McLaughlin grabbed an assist as Mansfield were beaten 2-1 by Sutton United. I can run through the Johnson's Paint Trophy, or the Papa John's Trophy tonight now, as before we go on to Scotland and stuff. So we'll start off with the midweek games. Owen Toll made his Bolton debut on Tuesday evening against Crewe, and Kieran Sadlier grabbed a goal as they beat Crewe Alexandra 4-1. Joe Hodge got a double as Wolves under-21 side beat Shrewsbury Town 2-1. John Rooney grabbed a goal as Barrow drew 1-1 with Fleetwood Town, and Marcus Harness got a double as Ipswich hammered Northampton Town 6-0. Jer, anything stand out there for you on Toll's debut, maybe?
Yeah, and also it must have slipped a little bit under my radar. Maybe I didn't pass too much heat. I wasn't actually familiar that Joe Hodge had moved to Wolves as well. That was an interesting one. As well, obviously, good to see him make a mark there with under 23s. And also, it's a good shop window for these younger players as well because they're playing basically essentially first team football. They're coming against men, League 1, League 2 teams. So it's a good chance. I remember last year on the show, we had Darragh O'Connor on. He was saying when he used to play in this competition with Leicester City, it was brilliant to kind of get that little bit of exposure. And even though it was a step up and takes a while to adjust, it's just kind of brilliant to see what it is kind of like to play first team level, even down in them lower leagues for the younger lads trying to burst and make it through to a first team squad.
Yeah, definitely 100%. I was looking through it today. I saw a couple of goal scorers who were playing championship football not too long ago. So you're playing against proper players there, and there's no messing. And look, if you got to the final, it's a day out of Wembley, and with these under-21s as well, they're good enough to keep battling. Not that I agree with them being in it, but if they got there, they'd done it on merit. So look, that's why they're in it, and it has to be respected like that, even though it is a bit wrong. But it's an opportunity for them, as you've just said. I'm kind of being hypocritical there. It's an opportunity for them, but in terms of actually playing in it, it kind of takes away for the actual clubs. Like, some might take it very seriously. You never know. Like, so I don't know. Anyway,
I'm still waiting for the day when an under-23 team gets to the final of this competition. Like, are that Premier League club going to bring a massive following down to Wembley for the final? Probably not. Like, I can't see it gripping the imagination. Like, even the likes of Leicester City when they got CFA Cup final a couple of years ago, Watford as well. You think back, like, they brought loads of fans. I think even if they were to, like, especially you can imagine one of the top 5 or 6 teams under 23s gets the final B. Just be interesting to see, like, would it kind of grip the imagination of these clubs?
Yeah, definitely. Again, it might. I mean, it would go on the honours list, I suppose, wouldn't it? Maybe not the significant honours list.
Yeah.
No, it's not a major honour, is
yeah.
it? Yeah, I don't know, because look, listen, it'd be interesting to see, because I think maybe it was Arsenal or West Ham's got to the quarterfinals of the areas last year, so be interesting to see how it goes, and to who are to keep an eye on as well. That's what I'll say. It's there's so many groups, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's usually because they used to play it over the international breaks, so it's grand. It was kind of something that you kind of had something to keep throw an eye on if you were missing your football altogether. But given obviously the new structure this season and the week that we've gone by, it's completely and totally utterly slipped under my radar. Like, compared to, as I say, previously there would have been no other games on that particular Tuesday night, like, because of the international break.
Yeah, 100%. That's it from England this week. Just wrapped up there now, and we can move on to Scotland. A couple of things to talk about here. Johnny Hayes grabbed an assist, and Liam Scales helped Aberdeen keep a clean sheet as they beat Livingston 5-0 at Pittodrie. Alan Power got a yellow card, and Ross Tierney played as Kilmarnock beat Motherwell 2-1. Clean sheet for Charles Dunn, and Jake Doyle-Hayes played as St Mirren beat Hibs 1-0. Graham Carey grabbed a goal, but it wasn't to be for St Johnstone as they were beaten 3-2 at Tynecastle by Hearts. On Friday evening, Darragh O'Connor grabbed an assist for Ayr as they beat Ryan Sweeney's Dundee 3-1. They're top of the division so far, so aiming for promotion. Still early, but we shall see. Connor Salmon has been in the goals this season. He's got his 5th and 6th of the season as he grabbed 2 against Peterhead. Alloa won 5-0 there in Scottish League 1. And Rory Payton grabbed the goal as Queen of the South beat Peterhead 4-1. Ger, anything you want to discuss there?
Not really, to be brutally honest. Obviously, I suppose the big fixtures obviously in Scotland is this weekend, Celtic Rangers. Interesting to see. It's a Saturday game as opposed to the traditional Sunday, so it's going up against the Merseyside Derby. Obviously, I don't think that's going to concern or the interest of Celtic or Rangers fans too much, but it will just be interesting to see TV viewers, pubs that maybe don't have multiple screens and boxes, which game is going to win out. So yeah, it could lead to a lot of arguments over what game is shown over the weekend, because let's be honest, 3 of the 4 teams involved have a very, very big support in the Republic of Ireland anyway. I think if you were going to the island of Ireland, you could say all 4, but again, we're not going to go down that route in the show.
No, we are not. I think the reason is because Celtic and Rangers are in the Champions League, and I think they were expecting them to at least be in Europe anyway. So, well, Celtic were guaranteed it, so look, they were in. So I think that's what they were looking at to give them an opportunity.
Celtic are out Tuesday night, so obviously I think Sunday would have been ridiculous. Yeah. Again, the fact the Champions League is back so early, didn't even kind of think of that. Again, it's thrown me. It's just this season is just going to be very, very weird.
Yes, it is. I completely agree. We did have some Scottish League Cup action during the week as well. Just to add, Johnny Hayes got another assist as Aberdeen beat Annan 4-1. And that's it from that. Nothing else really to add. We can go around Europe now. A couple of things to talk about here. Aaron Connolly and Liam Kerrigan both played 28 minutes as Cittadella and Venezia drew 1-1. Aaron Connolly obviously playing for Venezia. And Liam Kerrigan played as Como were beaten 1-0 by Brescia at home. Fabregas did make his debut there as well, interestingly enough. Zach Elbazetti played 72 minutes as AIK after going out of Europe last Thursday to Slovako. Drew 2-2 with Hammarby. They always seem to have high-scoring games, AIK. To be a great watch, I'd say. Fair play to them. Yeah, that's it from Europe, really. I have Australia, the Australian FA Cup. I just happened to see this the other day. I don't know why. Jay O'Shea starting the season strong again. Brisbane Roar beat Adelaide 2-1. And they're through to the next round of that. Obviously, I don't know what round it is. And from America, John Gallagher played the full 90 minutes and 84 minutes as Austin won the first game against Los Angeles 4-1. Los Angeles FC, not LA Galaxy. And they lost 2-1 to Portland Timbers last night. So that was disappointing for John, but a good win previous week. And Derek Williams and Shane O'Neill both played as LA Galaxy and Toronto played out a 2-2 draw on the weekend. So, Jer, do you have anything to say from those last few points?
I didn't get much time, unfortunately, or any time as it showed out the course show, unfortunately, to get any research in tonight. But I did manage actually to get a little bit on Liam Kerrigan because I seen one of the lads I know from back home, Rory Kilkenny, who made a valuable contribution on one of the shows last year. He happened to take in a Hibs game. So he's done his annual season scouting for us. Jake Doyle-Hayes was playing that day. He happened to be at the Como game on Monday night. Liam Kerrigan was actually very unfortunate not to make it 2 goals this season. I think he hit the post, he said, with a header. And overall, in general, seemed to do okay. Didn't have much involvement in the game. Obviously, disappointing that they lost, and obviously could have been a hero if his goal had gone. I just double check because I have it actually saved. I took a screenshot on my phone of what he sent on to me. So just bear with me for 1 second.
Take your time, no rush. Please make sure I've gone through it. I think I have. Yep. A couple of comments in. Cormac O'Brien wants to see Jason Knight get a transfer. Completely agree with you, Cormac. Fair play to you. We shall see in the next couple of days. What day is transfer deadline day?
Today, isn't it?
Is it today?
Yeah, I've seen everything on social media. So this is direct quote from Rory Kilkenny himself, in case anyone wondering, plays for the mighty CPA Ajax in Roscommon, in the Roscommon District League. Fantastic league. Trying to think, a league that has produced. God, I'm actually even drawing a blank. I'm trying to think anyone even from the playing League of Ireland moment. Anyway, it'll come back to me. Thought he did okay. He didn't get much ball. He was playing right mid, I think, and then went right back, I think, for the last few minutes. Como had a man sent off in the first half, so they were playing 4-3-2. So it looked to me like he was the right of the three, and then right back after that.
Fair enough. Sounds a bit messy for me, to be honest, if you're moving around all those positions for 28 minutes.
Look, Regan Donlan, the former Sligo Rovers player, he came through the Roscommon District League.
Fair enough. Look, listen, a conveyor belt of talent, Jer. Conveyor belt. Anyway,
Mikey plays, I don't know if he's still playing with...
He was with Galway last season.
He came through our league. Untitled Bazunu, formerly of Dundalk, then with, I think, Shelburne for a while, Galway and Longford. Actually even played with my own club. Yeah, with my own club, Loch Harps as well. So yeah, we've had a few players that have made the breakthrough.
Brilliant. To tell you, conveyor belt, Jer. Conveyor belt.
We've had Lennon at the moment from Roscommon playing was with UCD. He's gone back on loan to Athlone, where he originally came from. But he actually came up through the Athlone schoolboy system, unfortunately. So we're still going to claim him because he's born and raised within the county of Roscommon.
Definitely. Claim as many as you want.
And John Caulfield, of course. He played through the Roscommon League as well as a youngster.
And one of the angriest men in the League of Ireland, in my opinion. Anyway, we'll move on from that.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this show this week. We've got through a bundle of action there. Jer, thanks very much. We'll go again next week. Plenty more to talk about. Hopefully 6 wins out of 6 for the Gunners, and they're on 18 points, but it's going to be a tough one at Old Trafford on Sunday afternoon. And good luck to the ladies tonight. Hopefully they can get the job done. Good luck and enjoy the game, Jer, and see you again soon, lads.
Yeah, fingers crossed that Tuesday's game in Bratislava or wherever it is, I think it's Monday or Tuesday, it's going to be a dead rubber. And as you say, there'll be celebrations in Tyler at 9 o'clock tonight. Of course, we'll have updates on the channel as always. I know Gary is there. I'm not sure. Is Paul going to be there as well?
No, Paul's away, but Gary Spain's been up there since 3:30 this afternoon, from what I heard anyway, reporting from an empty Tallaght Stadium. What a man! You can't. I
think he's going to Slovakia as well. I'm fairly well certain he dropped and told me that when I was over in Poland with him at the Nations League game against Ukraine back in June. So yeah, so we'll have coverage of both games. But like I said, hopefully Tuesdays will be a case of the job is already done.
Yep, completely agree.
See, it's a as well, because I was even looking at, I heard when tickets went on sale, and myself and my mate Paul, who's the season ticket with, we were on about kind of going. And the next thing we turned around, we even started looking for tickets, it was sold out. So it really went down very, very quick. It's great to see. And hopefully,
Fantastic.
Like I said, it'll be a landmark night as well on the pitch, as just not just off it.
Yeah, 100%. Anyway, Jerry, I'll let you go and watch it. I have to head off to training myself. So, guys, thanks very much again. And we shall talk to you again next week.